Hi everyone, Cassandra from Conscious Creation with Cassandra. I wanted to go into my journey for the past few months and what that has looked like and how much my life has changed due to seemingly one specific aspect. So I went from a very, and still getting over this, fear-based mindset. Not really aware of it, but having fear be ruling my subconscious and thus having effect on my conscious and showing itself in my thoughts and in my feelings and thus my actions. So I was really aware that I was living from a place of fear, or even if I wasn't really able to do anything about it because it was impacting me in such a subtle way that I wasn't even aware that it was fear that was causing either the limitations or perceiving what was happening around me in a fearful way. What has changed? Well, life has really changed a lot for me in the past few months, and the biggest factor as to what has caused such profound change is my relationship with our Creator. Mind you, the interesting part is I thought I had a relationship with our Creator. There was a point in my life when I went to church 3 times a week. I really tried to integrate and help, but nothing really was sticking or communicating to me or being integrated into my actual existence. So this time around, very different experience, and I think it had to do with actually believing, and being in conversation with God, the Holy Spirit, higher power, universe, whatever you want to call it, and being in constant conversation with that throughout the day. It's not just something that I practice on Sundays. It's not just something I practice in the morning. It's something that I really try to, as frequently as I can, remember, be grateful, pray for, and which I realize it gets me out of my fear-based mindset, because my fears, my thoughts, that program has been running for so long, it's so automated that it is the habitual path of the mind. So me now consciously changing the conversation, not even being aware that I'm changing the conversation, just redirecting my energy from fear to faith, to the higher power, to prayer, to desire, to something different than being in that fear has really transformed my life. Because ultimately, our lives are created from what we think. And we think, usually, what we are programmed to think. And by that I mean something that we've been thinking for so long, it is now an auto program. It is something that we were either taught by our parents or something we came up with from our observation of everything around us. Our body does a better job being on autopilot than, by better job I mean our body has an easier time running things on autopilot than it does requiring our conscious brain to dictate every little thing we do throughout the day. So changing that conversation from fear to, as often as I can, either gratitude or prayer or connection to God. And also, a small little caveat is actually including Him in the conversation. Because I think I, in the past, did not really allow Him to speak to me. I think it was a one-way conversation. I was emphasizing the need to be in connection with God throughout the day as much as possible. For me, I use specific times. For some reason, 1 and 4 resonate really well with me. So at 11:11, 11:14, 11:41, 11:44, 1:11, 1:14, 1:41, 1:44, and other random times throughout the day, I really try to connect to the feeling of gratitude, to really vibrate that emotion through me so that A, I could feel good, but B, I could perpetuate that, as opposed to perpetuating the subconscious fears that I'm automatically feeling or experiencing or thinking about. I also wanted to emphasize that every single person's journey is extremely unique. You will not find two people with the same experience, with the same conversation with God, with the same life experiences. So what I am doing, or have recently done, has worked for me. There will be no person that will be able to give you advice on what you should do because they have not been in your shoes and do not know how you feel or what your perspective is. There's just so many factors that unfortunately you have to go through your journey with yourself and who you deem your creator. This is a co-creation between you and that entity. There's no human being that could tap into God power and tell you exactly what's going to work for you in the long run, because we do not have that power. Only God does. And I know there are plenty of people that are way better at listening to God than I am, that have more direct conversations as to what they should do next, what they can do in general for their life to shape out how they want to. I'm working on that. I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely trying to hear God's response and be open and hold space for God to speak to me and, of course, speak through me. So everyone has something to learn from this life, from every day in life, from every interaction. There's so much capacity to learn, and also so much capacity to make your own choices, to be in free will, to have change in perspective. There's so many variables to life, so many things to appreciate, of course, so many things to complain about and be anxious about as well. But what you focus on determines the course of your life, very simply. And we're actually fighting an uphill battle in the sense that our programs, our auto thought patterns, are usually negative, as that was what we used to protect us back in the day before we were conscious enough to make our own decisions. So we are kind of fighting the current of negative thoughts to think positively, to create a future that we want, as positive thinking brings more positive things to us, as well as being grateful. So as I mentioned, the answer for your future is within you and with your creator. Answer that I could give really quickly is that love is the answer to everything. When in doubt, love. Love yourself, love others, love the relationship you're in, love the circumstances you're in, love your job that you don't like. The more love you give, the more love comes back to you. Just a small little caveat there. Something I wanted to point out from my own experience, because I have let God in and have a different relationship with the creator than I've ever had before, even though I thought I was a devout believer. Now that I actually spend the time and the energy to connect to God and really trust in the unfolding that is meant to happen for my life, there has been a clarity that I've never experienced before. As I've mentioned, I do unfortunately live with a negative, fearful perspective as my autopilot in my subconscious that dictates limitations and safe activities for me, even though my conscious mind wants to do so much with my life and really have an impact. So I have two entities, two sources within me that pull me in opposite directions. One's fear, one's love and abundance. So when it comes to consulting God, which I recently started doing in decisions that are either in the fear or in the love as to which way should I go? Should I go and protect myself, or should I go in what's scary but is love? I asked for a sign on a decision or current circumstance that really has been weighing on me for years in terms of, am I doing the right thing by protecting myself and running away? Or am I doing the right thing by jumping and diving head first, which is very scary to me. And I finally got to the point where I needed to consult God. And I asked for a specific sign. And by the end of me formulating what this sign was, what was the sign for yes, what was the sign for no, I had a profound epiphany, realization that I've had this tug of war and uncertainty within me for so long that I haven't been really enjoying or falling into or trusting or having faith in what was unfolding in front of me. Just always resistant, always bracing myself for impact. For 3 years, when I could have been enjoying the experience, could have been present, could have been in love with the experience. So that's why people say that out of the decisions you can make, the worst decision is indecision itself, as it doesn't move us forward. So being in that indecision for quite some time, a few years, has not served me. And I had to ask God which was the right path to stay or to go, to be in love or to be in fear. And at the end of my formulation of these scenarios for yes, or signs for yes, or signs for no, I came to the realization that A, I've been wasting a lot of energy in indecision in that uncomfortable state, and B, I already knew the answer. Breaking it down to those simple yes or no, stay or go, really brought out the finality of not having or not being the version of myself that I could be. It's hard to explain because I'm not giving the specifics here, but I recommend, if you are in turmoil, and if you believe, here's an asterisk, if you believe in the Creator and have faith in Him for the unfolding of your life, to consult Him in whatever way works for you, and see that maybe you don't even need an answer because you already have the answer within you. But the clarity that I got from that, and also I should mention that even though I never formally put my conditions out there for yes or no because I was too scared of the answer, I ended up getting the answer, God's response to me, in what I actually wanted, in the result of love. So if you could take away anything from this, even though we didn't really talk about it much, thoughts dictate your reality. What you think about, what vibration you're in based off of your thoughts, what you're feeling based off of your thoughts perpetuates. What you think about is what you feel, and what you feel is what you will continue to feel unless you put a stop to that cycle. So yes, thank you for watching my video. If you would like to like or subscribe, please do so. If you have any questions, I'm always super happy to help. Take care.